One product. This one I can have 5 different colors, 2 different catalysts, and a solvent. Same exact valves. This one has flow meters, so we see part A, part B. Somebody didn't flush this very well. I took this off so you could see it. Same inline mix, but we didn't want to have this kind of length. So the Swiss machine, a very nice fluid filter. Into the stroke sensors, comes down into a mix block and out to our static mixer. This one happens to be low pressure, so we actually have a fluid regulator on it. We also have, this is air, compressed air, so when we flush, I can go solvent, air, solvent, air, solvent, air, and use very, very little solvent, use kind of scrubbing bubbles, and it flushes it very quickly. So it minimizes the consumption. Color touchscreen up above, this says 1+2. I haven't hit start yet, but I can choose. There's only one of us today. I'm going to use gun 2. All right, so only gun 2's on. It says it's a 3-to-1 ratio. You have a 90-minute pot life. And depending on your level, all I can do is I can change ratio. I can go into here, I can see my alarms. I can't reset anything. We give you the ability to go in. Remember how I mentioned there's no manual valve you can open on this? I can manually open a valve, but it's an automatic valve. I can say, okay, I want to go into here. I want to go on A material. And I want to open this valve. I now open it. I can squeeze the trigger. I can make sure it's flowed. Lots of times when you're filling the unit, right, you run out of material, you pump over, you're going to have some air in it. You'd manually open it, get the air out of it, shut it off. I can't go back. I can't leave this without shutting that off. So it doesn't allow you to go through it. If you notice, I can't get to much. Kind of like in here, unless you know the code to get to level 2 or level 3, you can't do anything but hit start, stop, or flush. Here, that's all I can really do. And the main person really never needs to do this. Here's start, here's stop, here's flush, here's change recipe. I only have one recipe in there at the moment, but there's recipe 4, recipe 5, 6. Now if I was at black, I'm going to white, and I hit start, it knows it's going to go through a flush recipe. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to a different level. So now I'm in level 4. There's a lot more configurations to it. We only do that when we set it up. We'll set up hose length. If you want to enter the VOCs per gallon, right, per product, you can enter the pounds per gallon of VOCs. How accurate do you want? You want plus or minus 1%, 2%, 3%? Most manufacturers say 10%. Usually we'll say, just go like 3%, that's plenty. It just makes it so it's not as finicky. We can, on here, we can theoretically, you say you have 25-liter containers, you just filled it, you can tell it that part B has 25 liters, and you can say at what point do you want me to warn you. It's all theoretical. It says I flew this much material, went through this machine, I'm now down to 2 liters, you need to change me. You need to go in and tell it the starting point that's right, and then reset it when it's there. Some people use it, some people don't. So 25 liters, warning at 5 liters, shut me off at 2 liters. Don't run out of material. Here's one of the things we do. Some people say, well, how do you do a ratio test on either one of these? And does Graco still do ratio tests?
No.
Okay. For the longest time.
You can if you choose, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, for the longest time, people would do ratio tests. I'm like, well, no, we don't do a ratio test. But I'll calibrate, I'll test. I can go say, all right, I want to go into, I'm going to check my catalyst. I'm going to go in here, we're going to turn it on, we're going to fill the gun, and then I'm going to sit here and hit start. And it's going to read cc's of material. I'm going to see cc's of material. Better yet, if you weigh it, because you can't see a cc. There's 30 of them per an ounce. But if you know the weight of the material, we can say weight to volume, very, very accurately and say this is what I have, then you enter that number into it, it'll make the correction. Check it again. I've never had to do more than 3. Usually on the second one it's on. So if I know that the B flow meter is dead accurate and the A flow meter is dead accurate, there's no reason to do a ratio check.
Yeah, that's what they do. Actually, it's a warning on the screen every 90 days and asks you to recalibrate the meters.
Yep. But it's funny, we still have people say, I want to see you do a ratio checks. Like, I can't. There's no reason to. But I'll show you calibration, and it works very, very well. Like I mentioned, you can put in VOCs, what you're after. Then we can get into the mechanics of it. Like catalysts, I can tell you, we want you at 5 million cycles. If you haven't serviced this valve, please do so. So the A valve, you don't service very often. We open the A valve, it stays open the whole time. This B valve, open, close, open, close, open, close, open, close. And so there's a counter in there, and we can adjust where it's at, because some catalysts are more aggressive than other catalysts. We have different materials, but it will give you an alarm saying, hey, you need to service me. Every time you start, it won't stop you from starting, but it'll give you a thing you have to acknowledge, hey, you need to service the B valve. And it will tell you that. Recipes, I can make my recipes. How many you want? Lots of times, like in the wood market, like I said, you say I'm using a single component product, but I'm using solvent. And I use different reduction rates depending on the temperature. I could make a recipe that says 40 to 50 degrees, 50 to 60 degrees, whatever, and you can change your reduction rate. Simple and easy to do. And once that's done, oh, what language would you like? Lots of places, English is not their native language, it's their second or third language. So if I can put it in Spanish or French or whatever, it's easier for them. So we can do that. For now, we'll keep it in English. Once that's done, if I go log out, we're back to it. It's start, stop, flush, because once it's programmed, you don't really need this. Okay? It's just simple start, stop, flush. Off it goes.